again. Good evening. Stephanie, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. We'll get started. I see there are some people still joining, but I think we'll begin. Hello, bonjour. This presentation will be delivered in English. The information provided is also available in French. For information in French, please email policerecruit@stjohn.ca. Cette présentation sera faite en anglais. Les informations fournies sont également disponibles en français. Pour les informations en français, veuillez envoyer un courriel à policerecruit@stjohn.ca. If you are unable to remain for the entire session, you may direct your questions to policerecruit@stjohn.ca. I am Staff Sergeant Sean Rocca. I am the manager of corporate communications with the St. John Police and also a member of our recruitment team. I would like to welcome everyone here to our virtual recruitment session, and I would also like to thank you for your interest in a career with the St. John Police. These are both exciting and challenging times for the St. John Police. The St. John Police Force was established in 1849, rich in history and tradition. Over 174 years, the St. John Police have served the citizens of St. John with honor, pride, integrity, valor, and distinction. Ever evolving and progressing with a changing environment, the members of the St. John Police are committed to serving together with our community to ensure a safe, secure, healthy city for those who live, work, and visit St. John. Over the next 5 years, we anticipate a number of retirements. Our recruitment vision is to proactively reach out to underrepresented applicants who are up to the challenge of living a life of significance through public service to their community by making a difference as a member of the St. John Police. Our mission is to recruit and select qualified individuals of high moral character who represent the diversity of our community to serve with passion, pride, honor, integrity, valor, professionalism, and distinction. To this end, we are pleased to announce that we are currently recruiting experienced and newly trained police officers, public safety communication operators, commonly known as 911 operators and dispatchers, as well as highly qualified individuals with absolutely no prior police training or experience through our new sponsorship program with the Atlantic Police Academy. Through this program, the St. John Police is prepared to sponsor successful applicants identified by the St. John Police recruitment team who wish to attend the Atlantic Police Academy to become a police officer. In this respect, provided the identified applicants meet our standards and successfully complete the Atlantic Police Academy's Police Science Cadet program, we will be prepared to offer them permanent employment. This eliminates a major barrier that comes with the uncertainty of no guaranteed employment at the completion of the police science program. Stephanie Hanlon, our Human Resource Manager, will provide more information on this later in the session. This evening, you will hear from various members of our recruitment team. Two of our members will share both their experiences as police officers in general, and more specifically, their experiences working for the St. John Police. The Service Delivery Manager of the Public Safety Communications Center, the PSCC, will share information about the center itself and his experience as a 911 operator. Our Human Resource Manager will provide detailed information on the application requirements and process itself, as well as our new sponsorship program. And finally, the Atlantic Police Academy will provide an overview of the Police Science Cadet program. At the end of our session, we will host a question and answer period. If you are comfortable asking questions in this forum, you can submit them over chat at the end of the presentation. Otherwise, you are welcome to email policerecruit@stjohn.ca at any time, and a member of our team will respond promptly. Now I would like to provide you with a brief overview of the St. John Police Force. We currently employ approximately 142 uniformed police officers and 46 civilian members. We are one of the oldest police services in the country. We police a population of approximately 67,500 citizens. However, this number increases substantially during the day as the city and 5-bedroom communities that surround it comprises a metropolitan area of approximately 127,000 people. St. John is an industrial city with a large geographical area of approximately 121 square miles. We have a beautiful uptown entertainment district and a residential district that gives St. John a big city feel, but with small town charm. Most importantly, our city is growing. Both the real estate and development markets within the city are strong. Among many other initiatives, the city is currently undergoing a major waterfront development that is sure to attract more investment and people to our city. We are a busy agency and require professionals that enjoy a fast-paced, challenging environment. Our members respond to approximately 55,000 calls for service annually. On average, this represents approximately 150 calls a day. Our patrol service division consists of the frontline uniformed first responders. These members are the backbone of our organization, many of whom have specialized training and responsibilities in areas such as emergency tactical services, traffic investigation and enforcement, canine services, drug recognition and impaired driving experts, community policing neighborhood officers, use of force instructors, court services, public order unit, coach officers, scenes of crime officers, and investigative support officers. Our criminal investigation division consists of approximately 25 detective constables and 5 detective sergeants. The major crime unit is responsible for serious crime investigation and also includes full-time fraud investigators and a polygraph examiner. Our family protection unit is responsible for intimate partner violence investigations, crimes against children, and sexual-based offenses. Our criminal intelligence unit is responsible for managing our human source program, including intelligence gathering and management. Our street crime unit is responsible for organizing crime and drug investigations, including undercover operations and covert surveillance. Our forensic identification unit is responsible for supporting all levels of investigations through forensic evidence collection and analysis. Our civilian crime analyst is responsible for both operational and administrative crime analysis and interpretation that helps to focus operational resources. Our wellness and crisis intervention coordinator oversees our victim services program, but of particular importance, focuses on the overall wellness of our organization and the members themselves. Our support services division consists of a mix of uniform and civilian staff who support the organization through administrative support, policy, fleet and building services, training, and evidence management. Our command team are the operational decision makers of our organization. They work diligently to ensure the St. John Police provides quality policing to our community and that our members have the training, support, and tools necessary to properly do their job. As an employer, we offer competitive salaries and benefits, many specialized opportunities, and most importantly, we are the medium that allows our officers to be difference makers in our community day in and day out. They have the profound responsibility to ensure the safety and security of our citizens, but also to make positive impact in the lives of our citizens. For more information about the St. John Police and the services we offer, please visit what we do on our website at stjohnpolice.ca. With that being said, I would like to introduce you to our first difference maker, Constable Neil Savory. Constable Savory has been a police officer for 19 years. He joined us 4 years ago from the Toronto Police Service, where he worked in one of the busiest sectors of the city, Jane and Finch, and had received numerous awards for exemplary police service. More recently, in May 2020, Neil talked a suicidal woman off a ledge of a building in Ontario over the phone from here in St. John. Again, in 2022, he was awarded the Chief's Challenge Coin of Excellence for his involvement in the life-saving efforts of a suicidal male on Reversing Falls Bridge. Neil currently works in our Patrol Services Division as a frontline police officer. Please welcome Constable Neil Savory.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, staff. That was very nice. Yeah, my name's Neil Savory. I've been with the St. John Police for almost 5 years now. I started in January 2019. Prior to that, I had worked with the Toronto Police Service from 2004 until 2019. Some of the things I did there, I was in patrol, started off in patrol, very, very busy division, a lot of calls, kind of just going call to call, and really had to learn really quickly. I was really lucky. I had a really great coach officer. So I kind of had a good foundation. From there, I did some different things. I did foot patrol, bike patrol. So you're in the community on bikes and walking through complexes and stuff like that. Street crime, doing some investigations, like robberies, street robberies, things that happen in high schools, things like that. Investigative units, like the CIB, and bail compliance unit, and did a lot of stuff there. I really, really enjoyed it. I was treated really well. Things changed for me in my personal life. I got married in 2018. Both of my wife and I are both from the Maritimes, so we were kind of tired of the rat race in Toronto. Our commute each way to work for both of us was could be 2 hours one way, and the schedule that we worked up there was a seven day in a row type thing. So we're spending so much time in the car, and near the end, having done 15 years of that, we started to look elsewhere. And I had family that was in St. John. They had recommended maybe checking out the website, which I did, and it really appealed to me. I had never been to St. John. I flew down, and it's the best decision I've ever made. I love it here. It is a really great place to work. Really, really good police officers. One thing I kind of was worried about coming here from Toronto, St. John's a blue collar city. I kind of was worried, how are they going to treat people, and are they going to be hands-on kind of thing? And it's really not my style, and it wasn't like that at all. The way that these guys and girls care about the community here, the people, the way they treat people with empathy and compassion, it really, I love that. And because I feel like it's the best way to do the job. It makes it a lot easier. And for me, I live uptown, so to work where I'm policing is definitely different. Where I policed in Toronto, I I didn't live anywhere near there, so you kind of come into work and then you're gone. But if you were to come and work here, there is the option to kind of live in St. John and police where you work. So um, I'll be around to answer any questions. Like I said, it's a great career. Um, you know, I love the teamwork aspect. I played hockey for a big part of my life, and that really appealed to me. Um, you know, you go out on the road and you go to calls, but you're never alone. And if you need help, you know, the guys and girls are always really quick to come and back you up. So, yeah, that's kind of my spiel, I think.
Thanks, Neil, for sharing your story. And I would say we're really proud to have Neil here in St. John, and we're so glad that him and his wife Stephanie decided to make the journey to the East Coast. And Neil's definitely a leader in our organization. And in fact, about an hour ago, before I came up here to my office, Neil was running the stairs, flights of stairs up and down with a duty vest on as a workout. And I've been watching over the last few days, and Neil has a growing number of members that are joining him. So it's slowly becoming a bigger and bigger group. So it feels like Neil and Stephanie are just members of our family here at the St. John Police, and we're just really happy to have them. So thanks, Neil. Our next presenter and difference maker is Sergeant Sylvia Somerville. Sergeant Somerville has been a police officer for 25 years. She is a senior member in the Patrol Services Division, where she serves a critical role as field supervisor on D Platoon. In her current capacity, Sylvia oversees approximately 20 frontline officers at the operational level to ensure that our frontline response is timely, coordinated, and effective. Sylvia has received many awards during her career. To name a few, Sylvia was awarded the Atlantic Women in Law Enforcement for Performance Award for saving a newborn baby in May of 2020. In 2021, she was awarded the Chief's Challenge Coin of Excellence for her involvement in saving a person from the edge of an overpass. And again in 2022, she was awarded a Command Leadership Coin for her involvement in managing the response to a critical incident involving an individual armed with a firearm in a school. So I'd like to welcome Sergeant Sylvia Somerville.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the introduction. Je m'appelle Sergeant Sylvia Somerville. My experience is a little bit different with the academy. I'm born and raised in St. John. I went to the Université de Moncton. I always knew that policing was what I wanted to do. So while I was at university, there was an ad that came out in the newspaper. They were looking for police officers. At the time, you applied directly to the province, and I was selected to go to the academy. So I went to l'Institut de Police du Québec. I went to Cégep in Montreal. I did police technology there, and then went to Nicolet to complete the police academy. While I was there, I did my interview process in St. John and was subsequently hired in June of 1998. So I've been here since then. I've spent most of my time in patrol because to me, this is where it's at. I love frontline policing. I've done different stints in street crime in different sections. I've been a member of the bike patrol, the ATV patrol, the public order unit, to name a few. But I've really enjoyed my career. So now I'm in charge of arguably the best platoon, D platoon, and I really enjoy my role. I've been here since 2019 as a sergeant of D platoon. That's it for me. If anybody has any questions, certainly feel free to ask.
Thank you, Sylvia. I think you may have started something arguing that you have the best platoon there, so hopefully that won't cause too many issues. Thanks again. Our next difference maker is Scott Green. Scott is a graduate of Mount Allison University and former public safety communicator, otherwise known as a 911 operator and dispatcher. Scott first joined the Public Safety Communications Center, the PSCC, as an operator in 2012. 4 years later, in 2016, Scott became the service delivery manager of the center itself. In his role, Scott manages the day-to-day operations of the PSCC, which includes oversight of 911 call processing for southwestern New Brunswick, emergency service dispatching for the St. John Police, and over 35 fire departments. He is also responsible for the PSCC recruitment and training program. So please welcome Scott Green.
Hi, thank you for the introduction. When you work in 911, you typically work behind the scenes, so it is kind of an interesting opportunity for me to be out in front of people. I will stay around after for questions if anyone has any. So yeah, my story here was a little bit different from the police officers that you've heard previously. When I got out of university, it had been a dream of mine to become a police officer, and I had applied and gone through all of the steps to join the RCMP. And it was going to be quite a while before I actually went to training. And when you get out of university and you owe some money, that wait to get a paycheck is a little bit tough. So what I thought about was the opportunity to become a 911 operator and police and fire dispatcher came up here with the St. John Police Force. And I thought it was an excellent opportunity to have a front row seat into policing to see if it was actually something that I was really going to enjoy. The other part of me that was interested in it was the fire dispatching part. My father was a 40-year career firefighter with the city of St. John. And so that offered me kind of an opportunity to see, at least temporarily, what was that life like? What was that career like, as at least as a dispatcher? But as that old adage goes, life is what happens when you're making plans to do other things. So when I got into the role as a 911 operator and dispatcher, I went all through the training. It took about 6 months, as it does still. What I found was I really wasn't interested in being a police officer just to be a police officer. And I even thought about firefighting. Really, what I was interested in was being a part of a team that did meaningful work and being a part of something important to the community, something that actually would make a difference in people's lives. And what I found after just a few short months of working in the center is that it really did it for me. It really scratched the itch that I had to do that meaningful work that I was thinking about. So yeah, I was an operator for about 4 years and had a great time in 2016, kind of unexpected. The opportunity to become the manager came up and I applied for it, and I have been offered the privilege to do that role for these past years. And yeah, that was my career. So you can kind of think you want to do one thing and end up having a very fulfilling career doing something completely unexpected. And I wonder if there are some people among the listeners that would give this a shot and have kind of a similar experience to me, because I really enjoyed the job and I still love being around it and having an opportunity to manage really skilled, highly motivated, highly trained, great people has been a nice opportunity that I continue to enjoy. So I can tell you about the job itself. The job for us is we have provincial responsibilities and municipal responsibilities here at the center. So we are the 911 answering point for all of southwestern New Brunswick. So that means anyone that calls 911 basically between St. Stephen and Sussex Fundy National Park all the way up to Coles Island on Highway number 2, Trans-Canada. All of those 911 calls are going to be answered from this center with priority. The way 911 works in New Brunswick is that there are 6 centers. So anytime there's too many calls to one center, those calls will reroute to other centers so that they're always answered somewhere. So not only are we responsible for our section, we are also a backup to our other 911 centers. So you could take a 911 call from anywhere in New Brunswick. You could take a 911 call from the state of Maine, Nova Scotia, or Prince Edward Island as well, or Quebec even. So it's a very interesting job that way, as you can have intake from all over. on top of the 911 call answering, we are also the non-emergency call answering point for St. John Fire and St. John Police Force. So that makes up a lot of calls as well. We are the dispatching center for the St. John Police Force, but we're also the dispatching center for all of the fire departments between St. Stephen and Sussex, including Deer Island and Campobello Island. So it's a very busy center. That's why we're looking for people. I'll be really excited to know if there are people here listening that are interested in that job, because it's very important, meaningful work. People have to answer these calls, and responders have to be dispatched. And as a dispatcher here, you get to be not only part of what goes on in the city of St. John, but you get to be the linking point between responders all over this whole corner of the province. Our call volumes are pretty high. You heard from Staff Sergeant Rocca about how many calls for service the police do daily. Our center takes about 600 to 700 telephone calls a day. 125 of those would be 911 emergency calls from this whole region of the province, and the rest of those would be calls to the police force or to the St. John Fire Department on the public lines, 648-3333 being the one for the St. John Police Force. Our training program is all done in-house. There's no academy such as it is for what we do here. We hire people from all walks of life who have something to offer, and we train you right from not knowing anything about what we do all the way to being a successfully trained operator. The training takes about 6 months, and we do it in 2 phases. One phase being the call taking, where you're basically gathering the information from the caller, putting that into more or less a work order that gets then sent to our dispatcher virtually. And everyone's trained to do both roles. The dispatcher then takes that virtual call work order and dispatches it out based on parameters, some of them built into our computer systems and some of them that you have to develop as an intuition working within rules. So it can seem very abstract. It can seem a little daunting when people first get into the work and see a center and how it actually functions. However, this is something that can be done by people, and there are people who've had whole careers working here, 30-year careers working here. And I'm really proud of that aspect of it, because it obviously means this place must be an okay place to work if people can spend an entire career. I've had my entire working career here. I've been here 11 years almost as an operator and as a manager. And I just think that it's an incredibly exciting career, and the opportunity to work here, if you're from somewhere else or if you're from here, doesn't matter. You know, you will get to have a positive effect on this community and the people that live here and visit here if you decide to work here. So like I said, I'm around to answer any questions. We're looking for good people who want to do varied work and who like multitasking and who want to be part of a team, because everything we do here is a team within our walls, but also you get to work with the police and the fire department and the other emergency responders. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Scott, for sharing your experience. And just one thing I would say, if it wasn't clear from Scott, is that the center is located here in the St. John Police Force building, and our building is state of the art. It's a beautiful new building, and the center is a state of the art center, and all the operators enjoy all the facilities at Peel Plaza here, including a large gym that we have in the building, and so that's available to all of our employees. And again, thank you, Scott, very much. We can't say enough about the expertise that our operators have and the incredible work that they do in the center. And as Scott had mentioned, it's very rewarding work. I did notice that we're getting lots of questions via chat, and we really appreciate that. And to avoid interrupting the presenters, we're going to try to wait until the end to answer those questions. So if you could just wait until the end of the presentations, then we're going to go back and answer all of your questions, and then we'll take new questions as well. Moving on, our next presenter and difference maker is Stephanie Hanlon. Stephanie is the manager of human resources for the St. John Police. Stephanie oversees all aspects of our staffing and promotional processes, among many other responsibilities. Stephanie is an incredible, dedicated, and hardworking professional who maintains the highest level of human resource standards for the St. John Police. Stephanie reports directly to the Chief of Police and his command team to ensure that the most highly qualified and professional candidates are chosen to serve with the St. John Police. Stephanie will provide us with an overview of the application process and requirements, as well as our new sponsorship program. Please welcome Stephanie Hanlon.
Thank you, Staff Sergeant Rocca, and thank you everyone for joining our virtual recruitment session and wanting to learn more about the St. John Police. My name is Stephanie, and I am the Human Resource Manager here at the St. John Police. We offer competitive wages and benefits, high quality training, and many future opportunities to grow and gain experience in leadership and specialized units. As previously mentioned, we are recruiting for experienced and newly trained officers, highly qualified individuals that represent the diversity of our community with absolutely no prior policing training or experience, and also public safety communication operators. For those of you wishing to join our great organization, there are minimum requirements to become a sworn police officer as outlined in the New Brunswick Police Act. These requirements include minimum 19 years of age, Canadian citizen or permanent resident of Canada, not having been convicted of an offense under the Criminal Code of Canada, Controlled Drugs and Substances Act, or the Food Drug Act for which you have not received a pardon, be of good character and habits, possess a valid, unrestricted driver's license, must be medically fit to police force standards, must be able to pass the PAIR test, which stands for Physical Abilities Requirement Evaluation, to police standards. Also, attain one of the following three options: a graduate of the Atlantic Police Academy Police Science Cadet Program, or a graduate of a comparable training course offered at a police training institute approved by the Minister of Public Safety. Examples are British Columbia Justice Institute, RCMP Training Academy, Canadian Forces Military Police Academy, l'École nationale de police du Québec, Ontario Police College, or having served a minimum of 3 years of satisfactory full-time service as a member of any police force in Canada. The beginning salary for a new police recruit is $67,555 per year. And after 3.5 years of service, the salary for a first-class constable is $116,402 a year. For those individuals who have yet to attain policing education and/or experience, joining our sponsorship program with the Atlantic Police Academy is the right move for you. We are prepared to sponsor successful applicants identified by our recruitment team who wish to attend the Atlantic Police Academy in Prince Edward Island. Provided the identified applicants meet our recruitment standards, successful candidates will be given a conditional offer of employment with the St. John Police. They will be required to attend the Atlantic Police Academy in Summerside, Prince Edward Island, and pass the Police Science Cadet Program in good standing. This includes on-the-job training period with the St. John Police. Commit to a minimum of 2 years of service with the St. John Police, and complete a 1-year probationary period in good standing. Our recruitment process for a sworn police officer and the sponsorship program for selected participants include submission of application, and I'll show you on the website where you can apply for these positions shortly, a medical assessment, the pair fitness test, extensive background investigation, aptitude test, psychological assessment, and also a 2-stage interview process, which includes a suitability interview with the recruitment team and also an integrity interview. In addition, we are currently seeking motivated individuals who are eager to make a difference as a public safety communication center operator. You will have, as an operator, you will have the opportunity to be an integral part of emergency response by answering 911 calls and dispatching police and fire services. The Public Safety Communication Center operator offers a competitive salary ranging from $56,091 a year to $61,714 a year, a competitive benefits package, and an excellent work environment. We provide extensive training and opportunities for career advancement. Under the general supervision of the shift supervisor, the position is responsible for receiving all emergency and routine calls for service from within pre-designated areas in southern New Brunswick and dispatching appropriate emergency service providers as the situation warrants. Responsibilities also include working rotating shifts. To qualify for this position, keyboarding skills are a requirement. You must be security cleared and successfully complete all requirements of the Public Safety Operator Training Program, which we provide. A proficiency in French of Intermediate Plus as per the province of New Brunswick. The successful candidate must also possess a diploma in office administration from perhaps NBCC, the New Brunswick Community College, or a Business Certificate 1 from UNB, the University of New Brunswick, or an equivalent program. If you are looking for a challenging and rewarding career where you can make a difference, the St. John Police might be for you. Again, I would like to thank everyone for expressing interest with the St. John Police and for joining this session. And just for clarification, I think I made a mistake on the salary for a police officer. For a first-class police officer, it's approximately $106,000 and not $116,000. So I just want to make sure I clarify that on the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. And I'm just going to share my screen here momentarily. If everybody can see, this is our website here. It's stjohnpolice.ca, and there's a section here called Join Our Team. If you just hover over this title called Join Our Team, it will show you different opportunities that you can apply for. And if you're interested in the Public Safety Communications Center, you can click on that. And within the center, it will explain, it's got a short summary of the center itself. But then if you click on current opportunities here, you'll be brought to our application software. And when you scroll down here to Public Safety Communications Operator, you can click on the link, and it will show you the summary of the position, the overview, and the role responsibilities, as well as all of the requirements to apply for the position. Similarly, if you're interested in a career as a police officer, you have two choices. If you're an experienced and trained police officer, you can select that option. Or if you're interested in our sponsorship program because you have no previous training, then you can choose that. And here you will see a summary of the sponsorship program, as well as minimum requirements to apply for the program, and the recruitment process itself. And again, if you're interested in applying, you can do that online by clicking current opportunities. And again, from the software, you can choose a sponsorship program for police officers. And when you click on that link, you can apply. If you are an experienced or trained police officer, you can click on this link, and that is for application for anybody that already has training or experience. Now, moving on, our final presenter and difference maker is Inspector Curtis Fudge of the Atlantic Police Academy. For those who already have prior police experience or training, you may not wish to remain for the final presentation focused solely on the Police Science Cadet Program at the Atlantic Police Academy. If you do have questions, you can submit them via email to policerecruit@stjohn.ca or wait until after the final presentation and submit them via chat. Inspector Curtis Fudge is a graduate of the Police Science Program and is now the Learning Manager for Criminal Law, Criminal Investigations, and Provincial Legislation for the Atlantic Police Academy, a position he has held since August of 2012. Before accepting this position, he worked as a police officer in the province of Nova Scotia, and during this time he spent several years working as a detective. He has received advanced training in this area of expertise and now instructs these skills to both recruit officers and experienced officers alike. Before becoming a police officer, he was employed as a conservation officer for 14 years with the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. He obtained his master's in education in December of 2019 and was a recipient of the Teaching Excellence Award for Holland College that same year. We are very thankful to have strengthened our partnership with the Atlantic Police Academy through our new sponsorship program. We are equally pleased to have Inspector Fudge join us to provide an overview of the Police Science Cadet Program. Welcome, Inspector Fudge.
Thank you, staff. Hello from PEI. Actually got a nice evening here. So, like the staff said, I've been at the Academy since 2012. I am one of about 12 full-time instructors. My area is law and investigative type subjects. We have other subject matter experts when it comes to driver training, use of force control tactics, firearms, communications, those kind of things. The program overall is 36 weeks in duration. It begins in December, just before Christmas, with some online learning, primarily with me for law and some criminal investigation type material. Then, of course, Christmas break. The first week after Christmas is a little more online learning, and then it's the physical deployment to Summer Park area in Summerside, where you continue the training face-to-face and do more of the skill stuff such as firearms and control tactics and such. Continuing on to about June, and then it's the 12 weeks on the job training period. And of course, with the sponsorship program with St. John, you would do your 12 weeks portion with the police agency there. Our other recruits go to various other agencies around the Maritimes. Then you come back for a week last of August to finish up and then to graduate if you're successful. A typical day, we are residential, meaning you eat, sleep, and train on campus. You stay in barracks. We have room inspections. Dressing deportment is a big part of the training. Drill, like marching to and from class, coming to attention when an instructor enters a room, and so forth. But a typical day starts around 6:15, 6:30 in the morning with PT training. Around 7:30 to 8 a.m., you get to eat breakfast and then shower and such. And your first class of the day would start around 9 in the morning. Then break for lunch around 12, back to class for 1 p.m. And a typical day would end around 4 p.m. We do have some evening training depending upon that week, but typically a day would end at 4 p.m. Then you get to have some downtime where you can catch up on some assignments, paperwork, work out even more if you feel like it. If you're trying to improve a pair time or improve your strength and so on. You will be on a meal plan. So our recruits are on a meal plan. Meals are part of the costing. Meals are provided from breakfast Monday mornings until lunch Fridays. So if you decide to go home on the weekend, you get to go after 4 o'clock on Friday. But if you do choose to stay for the weekend, no meals are provided after lunch on Friday, so you'll be on your own for your meals on the weekend. If you do go home, you're expected back in barracks, lights out by 10 p.m. and then ready for the next training week. So it's a busy 36 weeks overall, even with the online learning, our face-to-face and the OJT portion with St. John. So it's very demanding of your time, academically, physically, mentally. So it's a very rewarding and fulfilling training. So we do have some external certifications as well. So there's the core curriculum that we deliver, but we also have some external certificates such as TASER, MANT, which is a communication type certificate, ASD training, carbine instructor, SFST. We've 3 years ago started to train all our recruits in the standard field sobriety testing, which wasn't done for our recruits before that. So that's an additional training that we've added to the program, along with the carbine user and such, and TASER user. So those are relatively new for our recruits. So when they graduate, they already have those certifications in hand. That's about the overview, I guess, the summary of it. I'll stick around in case there's any questions.
Oh, that's fantastic, Inspector Fudge. Thank you for the excellent overview. And of course, thank you for your service to all the police agencies across Atlantic Canada as a leader in police training and excellence. We're excited to have 4 of our cadets in our first sponsorship program that are currently there with Inspector Fudge at the Atlantic Police Academy doing their training now. So moving on, we're going to begin our question and answer period. So I'm going to ask Stephanie to enable the chat feature, and you're welcome to begin submitting questions via chat. And Staff Sergeant Hobbs is going to address each question one at a time. I think there may have already been some questions submitted, so staff, if you could go back and start at the beginning with some of those questions, and we'll try and get through as much as we can. If you're not interested in staying for the question and answer period, feel free to leave, but we're going to try and address as many as the questions as we can, if not all of them. Thanks very much for joining us. Over to you, Staff Sergeant Holmes.
Good evening, everyone. So I usually just try to scroll through some of the chat questions because some of them are a little bit similar in nature. So a couple of the questions asked about PSEC. So Staff Sergeant Rocca explained how to get to the site that will detail the actual requirements for the PSEC operator. And I know that we are continually accepting applications for PSEC operators, and we usually put through, and Scott can correct me if I'm wrong, but we're usually putting through 1 to 2 groups a year. Right now, I think we have 2 that are currently in training in their 6-month training, and they just came into the center to do their online training. The next question we had was, how many officers are we hoping to hire? We anticipate between 25 retirements over the next 4 years. And in saying that, those numbers could increase, could decrease, and we try to forecast each year for how many officers that we're currently looking for. When we started the sponsorship program last year, we tried to forecast ahead to see how many potential spots would be open, and at that time, we decided on 4 positions to send to the Atlantic Police Academy. So at this point in time, we haven't really decided on the number of sponsorship candidates that we will be sending to the APA in 2024. However, the Atlantic Police Academy has been very good to us, and there's really not, I don't want to say limit, but they are very open to the number that we send over to them. So we are continually accepting resumes for both police officers and for the sponsorship program. On the recruitment team, myself, Stephanie Hanlon, Staff Sergeant Rocca, as well as other members within the organization, it usually takes between 3 to 4 months from start to finish when we actually start a process where we reach out to candidates that we have selected to then ask them to participate in the process for either recruitment or for hiring. So one of the questions here in relation to the pair test. So for officers that are coming from the Atlantic Police Academy, we accept their pair time for the pass, which is 4 minutes. And for our recruitment for the sponsorship program, we have asked that a pair be completed in 4 minutes as well. Now, entry into the APA, I believe it's 4:45. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Inspector Fudge. However, by the end of your term, you have to complete it in 4.
That is correct.
So for the sponsorship program, we have decided that we are going to start ours off at 4 rather than the 4:45. One of the questions in relation to patrol with the St. John Police Force. So after you finish your training at the Atlantic Police Academy, while you're here for your OJT for those 3 months, you're assigned a coach officer and a secondary coach officer. So you're continually working with someone to be mentored and learn to kind of apply what you've taken from the academy and now put it out into real life experiences. Once you complete your OJT, and if you're hired on with the St. John Police Force, there's then a probationary period, which is 1 year in duration. And during that time, depending on your experience and if you are a new recruit from the Atlantic Police Academy, you will stay with someone for a minimum of 6 months and up to 1 year. So you will work with somebody, they will mentor, they will coach you, they will help you to learn the process, help you to understand, putting files together, you're putting your powers of arrest into effect, and understanding our processes within the St. John Police Force.
I'll
There's
just
some
add,
questions. Go ahead,
wanted to add a
Inspector.
little bit to that, just to that question. Once you do pass your probationary period, you're not necessarily partnered with somebody. In some cases, you could be partnered with somebody. In other cases, some of our officers patrol in one officer units, but that doesn't change our response. So our response is based on priority of the call. And so even if you are patrolling alone, if it's a priority call, there's more than one officer dispatched to the same call. Just wanted to add that for clarification, staff.
Perfect, thank you. There's quite a few questions in relation to medical. I'm not quite sure if I don't feel comfortable answering those, but I know that we do have our candidates go through a medical questionnaire with a doctor, but I'm not sure what those requirements are. Someone has asked a question about waiving some of the, I guess, testing procedures based on their previous experience. Everybody that goes through the sponsorship program itself with the St. John Police Force will all go through the same process. So the aptitude test, the pair test, the medical, everybody will go through the exact same process. I'm just scrolling down through some of the questions here now. In relation to how long does it take? We started the process last year, I believe, around April, May, and continued through the summer. And I think we notified our group of candidates around September timeframe. So we have to give our exact numbers to the Atlantic Police Academy by October. So it usually takes us between 3 to 4 months from start to finish by the time we have book your recruitment interview with myself and Staff Sergeant Rocca in Hanlon, and then the polygraph, and then the appointment with the psychologist and the doctor and the pair. So all those things add up to taking some time. So usually between 3 to 4 months from start to finish. So when we talk about sponsorship, some people, I guess, are thinking that there's some sort of monetary value to the sponsorship program. The sponsorship program is that we are guaranteeing you a job prior when you come out. So typically, and when I went to the Atlantic Police Academy, I went to the Atlantic Police Academy and then I had to go out and search for a job. So we are trying to take that, I guess, unknown away from you as to whether or not am I going to have a job when I graduate, and am I going to have a job back in St. John. So some people that are applying to the sponsorship program really want to be a police officer, but they're not interested in going to another location. So they're not interested in going to Fredericton or Halifax or Charlottetown. They're really interested in coming back to the city of St. John. So for them to apply to the sponsorship program and being accepted, they know that they are going to have a position back with the St. John Police Force. There's a question there, Inspector Fudge, just about the marking system with the cadets at the academy. Are you able to talk on that at all?
Yes, not a problem. Our pass mark at the academy is 75%. So all courses have to be passed, whether it's our own mandated curriculum or if it's even the external certifications that we offer. Again, as I mentioned, carbine user, taser user, those kind of things, still a 75% pass mark. We do have a learning policy around rewrites and assignments and those kind of things, but it's probably a little more in depth than I need to cover off at this time. But in short, yeah, the pass mark is 75%.
Thank you. One of the questions in relation to high school graduation and can you apply right from there? So if you go into both the sponsorship or police officer portion, it'll actually say that the minimum age is 19, and there's no requirement for you to have previous police training or previous university or community college or those type of things for the sponsorship program. So it's just minimum age is 19 years of age. Is there a polygraph involved? So our pre-employment interview with an officer here is actually a polygraph booklet will be given to you with a variety of questions, which you'll be required to answer. And then you will have a meeting with our polygraph officer to go through that booklet.
But just for clarification, there is no polygraph test per se. It is an integrity interview, but you're required to answer the questions in the booklet before the interview. And I did see we may have skipped one question here. We are going to be starting the process of selecting applicants for the sponsorship program in the coming months. However, we do recommend that you put your application in now if you are interested in the sponsorship program. Although you won't start until December, as Inspector Fudge had mentioned, we will be selecting applicants before that. It does take a number of months to go through the entire process. So we would recommend that you put your application in as soon as possible.
At the current time, one of the questions asking about training, if you're getting paid for your training. And at this current time, we are not paying members that come here for on-the-job training. So on-the-job training is actually part of the requirement for you to graduate from the Atlantic Police Academy. So there's a question here in relation to shift work with the police force. So when you first start off as a frontline patrol officer, you will work 12-hour shift, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., 2 days and 2 nights, and then 4 days off. There is the opportunity for overtime on your days off, as well as you will be obviously summoned for several court appearances based on your files that you have investigated. So right now at the patrol level, we work 2 days, 2 nights, and 4 days off. So the two types of interviews that we do is as part of the recruitment group, we do an interview basically just to get to know you as a candidate. And then the integrity interview, which you will be provided a booklet to answer questions, is then completed, and then you meet with an officer who is our polygraph. So there's 2 sets of interviews that are done during the sponsorship program. So schooling is not paid for by the St. John Police Force. So Inspector Fudge, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's probably around $30,000 still to attend to the Police Academy. Am I correct?
Yes, we are now just north of 31,000, about 31,600. About 20,000 of that is tuition. Close to 8,000 is accommodations and the meals. So which is not unheard of if you have to rent or buy groceries yourself anyway to come or go to another college to train. And the rest is like for uniforms and other supplies. So just a little over 31,000.
So when you think of the costs associated to that, is that with the sponsorship program, you, as long as you pass the Atlantic Police Academy, is that you will be guaranteed permanent employment upon your completion and starting here at the St. John Police Force. And as Stephanie Hanlon had mentioned, our starting salary for probationary constables is 67,000. And then within a couple years, you're up to over 100,000. All your benefits start paying into a pension, medical starts on the first day that you're hired. It's not after like a 1-year probationary period. Everything starts at that one time.
And just to add to that, what Staff Hobbs had just mentioned, although you start at $67,000 as a probationary constable and you get to $103,000 after 3.5 years, it is a gradual increase. So you don't just, it's not just one jump. There's incremental increases over the course of 3.5 years until you get to $103,930. And just on one other note, to differentiate, the training to become a police officer at the Atlantic Police Academy is not paid. However, if you're interested in a position as a public safety communications operator here with the PSCC, that is different. Once you are hired here, you are paid during the course of your training period. And as Scott Green had mentioned, that training period can last up to 6 months, but you are paid during that period. It is conducted right here at the St. John Police. You're not required to go anywhere else for that training. And in terms of training, there was another question that I saw as well, as if there was periods of the training for the academy in St. John. And as Inspector Fudge mentioned, there's an initial online training period in December. However, once you start at the academy in January, you are there until your OJT in June. So you don't do any classroom or online work per se in St. John during that period for the most part, you're at the academy in PEI, in Summerside PEI. Although, as Inspector Fudge mentioned, you can at times leave on the weekends to come back to St. John if you live here, or go back to wherever your home is for the weekend.
So one of the questions talks about when all these documents have to be given and kind of how the process work. So initially, just submit your application and your resume to our recruitment website. And from there, as a recruitment team, we go through and start selecting candidates to go to kind of the next step. And the first step, I guess, would be that we would send you out a booklet to fill out with all of your information and contact information, and that's sort of the starting of that process. So with each step, we will then initiate more things from you, I guess. So we might start asking you to supply this, or by the end of 2 weeks, supply this, or now you're moving on to the next stage and we're setting up interviews for our integrity. We're now setting up interviews for the psychological. So once you set in your application, we then start initiating I guess, sending out packages to people to start filling out further documentation. The St. John Police Force does not pay any of the tuition for the Atlantic Police Academy. That is on your own. The sponsorship program is just our way of guaranteeing employment for those that go through the sponsorship program upon your successful completion of the APA to come back here to St. John. So I think we'll wrap up with the questions. I know that myself, Staff Sergeant Rocca, and Stephanie Haley are always open and eager to answer any questions from anybody. You can email the recruiting team if you have anything further that maybe wasn't covered tonight or looking for clarification, and somebody will get back to you. I believe we'll probably be having another in session in the next couple of months. I'm not sure if it's going to be virtual or in person or not, but I'd like to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. I don't know if anybody, Sean, if you had anything else you'd like to say, or.
Just that I did put some links there in the chat. The link for the sponsorship program, the link for the PSCC, and I put our email there too, policerecruit@stjohn.ca. If you want more information about the sponsorship program, go to the website and you'll get all the information that you need. And again, as I explained before, you can apply directly online, and we'll get your application and we'll go from there. So we'd like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. I'd like to thank the presenters for taking the time out of their busy schedules to be with us here today and provide everybody with information. So thanks again, and any more questions, just shoot us an email at policerecruit@stjohn.ca. Thank you very much and have a good evening.